Back when Wednesday Night Fights was becoming Wednesday Night Fights and Vi was like banning people, everybody was about popping off, and the FGC was really just starting to get into this renaissance and everything. I did a bunch of interviews with a bunch of top players, and one of the biggest things that was common amongst all those interviews was the number one thing that annoyed them, and it was how fucking impatient everybody was. Remember, I think it was Combo Fiend or Vi just told me, like, if you just sit there, these people have to press a fucking button. Like, they have to press a button. They can't just wait. They'd always jump. They'd always mash throw. They'd always mash DP. They couldn't just wait for a second and chill and figure things out. It still happens. People are still impatient. I think probably the worst side effect, games die for no reason. Dragonball Fighterz is a really fun game. The netcode needs work. Scramble's a little bit crazy, but it's fun. They revealed their latest DLC character for their season pass, and they didn't talk about season 4 or rollback netcode or a lot of other stuff. In fact, a lot of the community stuff kind of dropped off because the netcode for the game is not up to par, and it doesn't seem like people are about to fix it. But I think there's a broader issue at stake, and it's that once games kind of complete their DLC run, once there isn't new content coming out for games, especially in this new FGC, people just stop playing. And that's the other issue a lot of players had that they would talk about occasionally back in Chickle's garage. We'd gone through these dark ages where no really good fighting games had come out for quite a while, and now all of a sudden we had all these games and people would just pick up and drop them. They'd complain about Street Fighter 4, pick up a new game, and then drop it and go back to Street Fighter 4. They wouldn't see the game through because all of a sudden it got a little hard, or there was some mechanics they didn't understand, or something that evolved quicker. It is a huge issue, especially because we're in a time where fighting games are really good. NRS games have a huge community. Tekken 7 is amazing. The new Street Fighter 5 patch is so good, but games just tend to always drop off after a while because people don't give them their moment. But a lot of games on their last DLC character or their last piece of content never reach their full potential. And it's a fucking shame because games like Marvel 2 and Third Strike, Super Turbo, people still play Super Turbo. And there are all these other games that people love that they don't play because nobody's really playing those games. Why not? Everybody complained about Street Fighter 5 forever and had rose-colored glasses for Street Fighter 4. I remember people hated Street Fighter 4, so they would go back and they would play Third Strike and Super Turbo, and those communities were super thriving during those times. And so you would think when Street Fighter 5 was having its problematic times, a lot more people would play 4. But the 4 community hasn't popped off as much. It's great that Marvel 3 is coming back. It's great that Marvel 2 is a little bit coming back, but there are so many games that are kind of just left on the back burner. It doesn't feel like that game is still moving like the tiers in Super Turbo are, or the Third Strike, kind of meta is, These games feel like they just update the last update and they just stop forever. Why not keep it alive? What's wrong with playing a game from 2018 or 2019? A lot of new games when they come out aren't perfect and everybody complains about all the new games. Why not go back to a game that you love, that works, that's exciting to watch? I think about this and I think about Dragonball Fighterz and Smash and Street Fighter 5 and think about, man, that last DLC character is going to feel pretty useless when everybody stops playing, or when Evo comes back, if it comes back, just drops the fucking game. Oh, well, there's no more DLC for it, so nobody's playing it. It's such a fickle way to think about things. And I think amongst the many things that we need to change about the way this community treats other people and the changes we're going through, especially post-pandemic, I think instead of people holding back on not playing games because it's not popular to play this game because it's a kind of a it's an old game, right? People should still build communities around this stuff. I mean, everybody doesn't want the FGC to become esports, but part of the grassroots thing is playing a game just because you like playing it, loving the process of it. That's part of the reason everyone liked fighting games. They liked the process of figuring somebody out and the strategy of it. When basketball isn't popular, when the season's off, doesn't mean people stop playing basketball and stop going to games and stop playing pickup games with their friends. They love the process of basketball. They love figuring somebody else out. They love running up and down the court, crossing somebody up, making a layup. They love that process. It's invigorating to them. And if you like these games, you should continue to play them. I understand there's an element to hey, well, you're a streamer, There are people with sponsorships. People would like to see this game more or this game more. I understand there's also a financial incentive to it. But there are plenty of people who are not playing it like that, who just give up on shit because it's not popular, contrary to the way they act about everything else. The process of these games is what's so amazing about them. And through that process, the games evolve and you try new shit out. That's why Third Strike feels like it's still a living game. That's why Marvel 2 feels so deep, because when it died, people still kept playing it and found new shit, and it's still there. And there's still new shit that they're finding. There's still more shit to discover in that game. The twilight years of a fighting game are some of the best years because you don't have to worry about shit changing every 5 minutes. You can double down and really dig into, like, all right, what's cool about this game? What's the meta? What can I discover? You have a game at stasis that you could do a lot of shit with, which brings me again to Dragonball Fighterz. I know some people are burnt out on it. I know the netcode isn't great, but a lot of people still love this game. And instead of just resigning and putting a rose on the grave, if you like this game, you should still play it. If you have the willingness, you should still stream it. There's a lot of stuff you could still learn from Dragonball Fighterz. There's a lot of life in this game left. There's a brand new character out. Even after the next big tournament they have, if they have another big tournament, even if there's no season 4, there's still a lot of life you can gain from this game and a lot of things you can do. It's a fucking Dragon Ball game. It can still be huge. It is the #1 property in the world by its side, next to Pokemon and a few other things. But like, it's one of the biggest properties in the world. You have so much wind at your back if you want to keep this game alive. So if you love this game, don't let it die. I don't know. I just wanted to say that. There's a lot more gas left in the tank for a lot of fighting games that die way too early. And it's gonna happen with Guilty Gear. It's gonna happen with Street Fighter 5. God, the last character is gonna come out and nobody's gonna play that game, even if the game's great. Just because it's old now, you know? You got to get over that, guys. Like, if we're the fighting game community and you don't want to just be esports, you know, keep the communities alive. It's not that hard. Just go to a meet, have games with a friend, put it online. That's really all it takes. It's a lot of fun. So that's all I wanted to say. My name's Zetsabani. For video game stuff, I go by Red Rapper. You can like my page, follow, subscribe. I freestyle the news every week. Find me on Spotify, and yeah, keep playing Dragon Ball.